Welcome to Jared Scott Outdoors. This YouTube channel is dedicated to getting our youth more involved in the outdoors. To do this, I'll be out with family and friends doing all sorts of outdoor adventures. This week on Jared Scott Outdoors, we're hunting free-ranging wild bison. This is a hunt that occurs just outside of Idaho near Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Before this, I was like a lot of you who didn't even know there was a buffalo hunt available. This is a very tough hunt to draw on, with odds nearing the 1 in 40 mark for a bull tag. Lucky hunter Debra McKenzie, who drew a coveted tag, and her husband Dana invited me to come along for the hunt. We met up on August 15th, the opening morning of the hunt. It was a little before 5 a.m., giving us about an hour to hike to the area we hoped the bison would be moving through at first light. After packing all our gear and quickly discussing the strategy this morning, we were off. As I mentioned before, this hunt takes place near Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Part of the unit takes in the famous National Elk Refuge, which is completely inaccessible year-round for the public except for those that draw a coveted bison or elk tag and a few other select circumstances. The rest of the unit is in the national forest surrounding the refuge, excluding, of course, the Grand Teton National Park. Only a handful of the hunters that drew the coveted bison tags are allowed to hunt in the refuge at a time. While the hunt starts in August and goes through the rest of the year, each lucky hunter is assigned a short period in which they can hunt within the refuge if they choose. All right, I got to cut in for just a minute. As you can see, I'm no longer in the area that we're buffalo hunting, but I got to stop and tell you a little bit about the situation that we're hunting in. Now, Debra is trying to use her bow, and everybody else is out here with their 300 mags and their rifles, and here Debra is with her bow. It's a 50-pound bow that she's pulling back. And she's been practicing up to 60 yards, but the big question mark is what kind of penetration will an arrow have on a buffalo? And they've been talking to a lot of people, trying to fill everybody out to make sure that it can be done and have a good ethical shot. And from what what they found is that as long as you get a good shot, you're going to take it down. And it makes sense, but there's still that question mark because a buffalo is awfully big. And so we're out there with everybody else holding a rifle and Debra with her bow, hoping that she can get within range, and then we've still got that question mark of what kind of penetration are we going to have. So let's keep after it now. Knowing that the rifle hunters would have the advantage on us and that they would most likely start the herd moving with the first shots at legal light, we hoped to get to our predetermined destination by first light. We were getting close when we heard the first shot off in the distance. It only took about 5 more minutes to get to a vantage point, and sure enough, the bison were moving. As I watched them, it became quickly apparent that not only were the bison on the move, but they were heading right towards us. Things happened so quickly while we were filming, we really couldn't stop and talk to you about what was going on. So I got to tell you right now, just to explain a little bit about the situation. Right now, we're hunting on the elk refuge. They only let in a certain amount of hunters on there per week, and it's basically on an every other week situation. You have to go and you have to get your permit to go in there, and it's very limited. But what happens, they've got a lot of buffalo that are in there during the summer, and as soon as those first rifle shots are made, the buffalo are gone. They take off and they get out of the park, and so you've got to make it happen the first day, the first morning. Otherwise, you've just got a few things here and there, but for the most part, you're chasing them out in the forest after that. And so it's really kind of an intense situation. We got to find them, and we got to find them and be in the right spot because she's got to get within bow range as well. So it's, the odds are actually stacked against her. For those that have a rifle, as long as they can get, fairly close, then they're doing all right. But with Debra trying to do this with a bow, it's one of those tough situations where we really don't know what's going to happen. Suddenly we could tell that we were out of time, as at the pace they were running, they would be on top of us in just a couple minutes. We had to quickly decide where to set up and get it done. The problem? There was no cover. We were just in the middle of a bunch of sagebrush with nothing that could hide us. This is the moment that I realized a couple hunters on the ground with nowhere to run and a herd of buffalo running our direction may not be the best place to find yourself. I recall that whenever in Yellowstone, you're always warned not to get too close to the buffalo, as visitors have been killed in the past. This is what I'm thinking of as I watch this herd continue kicking up dust as they run right towards us. Our goal was to be in their escape path once the shooting started. As we watched all those buffalo heading our way, I wondered if that was a smart choice. They were heading to our left, and so we headed that way and got there just in time to see the first buffalo heading over the rise. They saw us and instantly veered away. The rest of the herd, a few hundred yards behind, swung to our right. We tried going that way to close the gap, but as soon as they saw us, the same thing happened and they moved further away. By now they were all passing us by and staying out of bow range. It seemed that no matter where we moved, the lack of cover made us stick out like a sore thumb, and the bison kept as much distance as they could from us. The rest of the hunters with their rifles weren't having any problem filling their tags. We could hear shots both in front and behind us as the buffalo headed on a straight course that would take them out of the refuge. We were now getting concerned that all the bison would pass by before Debra even had a chance to fill her tag. By now, 2/3 of the animals had passed by without so much as a close call. Then when one of the last groups of bison headed on past us, one of the bigger bulls stayed put, giving us the hope that it would let Debra get within her 60-yard range. To our surprise, it stalled a little, letting Debra get closer. Now it was inside 70 yards, and our hopes of bagging a bull seemed a little more possible. Her husband Dana was right there, keeping the rangefinder going as it closed the gap 1 yard at a time.
64 yards. 63, 62. 62 yards. He's got a quarter away from your meat broadside. 59. 58. 58. That. 57.
With the big bull now in range, Dana made a grunt to stop it, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
While it was too far away to see the arrow placement, we could hear the impact and knew it was hit. It ran hard for about 50 yards and then slowed down to a walk and began acting like it was hit hard. Not long after that, it went down, and we knew the shot was fatal.
It's a beautiful morning, and we had a great walk, and then a first rifle hunter chased him right at us. We had to do a little dodging and bobbing, but I think I might have got him.
Now I know that Dana would have loved to have drawn this tag, but it wasn't him, it was his wife. But even with that being the case, you could tell that he was really proud of Debra, and I think he was even more excited for her than he would have been had he gotten one. The two of them made the final walk together to see the buffalo, make sure it was dead, and then the celebrations began.
That is a big buffalo.
That is a big buffalo.
Woo! That was intense for a little
That
bit
was
there.
really intense. Look at all his fur. He's got a big mane like that one we saw yesterday. Deb, that is a big mature bull you just harvested.
On TV, it's hard to appreciate the size of a big mature bull, but this angle ought to help you understand the size of this trophy archery kill.
That is one big mature male buffalo that my wife just stuck with an arrow. Way to go, girl.
That's cool.
What a woman.
This is pretty exciting,
Way to go, Deb.
to say the least.
So,
Got up really early. Didn't get much sleep. Too excited, and came to an area we thought that they may get chased if there were rifle hunters at the crack of dawn. And sure enough, we heard the first rifle shot. They started heading up this draw that we were informed about, their path perhaps, and began the chase. And then we could tell that one of them was a bull, is rolling all over in the dirt, and then got a little closer to it and was within my range and let him have it.
57-yard shot with the bow.
Unbelievable. Look at his fighting marks.
I am amazed and really proud and stoked that my wife could harvest such a trophy beast. That is just amazing.
When Dana and Debra contacted me and mentioned they had this tag and invited me to come along, I jumped on the chance to do it, but I was really unsure on what was going to happen. And they mentioned they wanted to do it with a bow, which made me even more intrigued because, I love archery hunting. Seeing those buffalo coming in as fast as they were coming in, we didn't have any time to really set up. It was just try to outthink
Chase
them.
them.
This was really intense. I was surprised. I wasn't sure what to find out, but man, while it was going on, this was intense, I'll tell you what. And this sucker is big. I'm watching him run around thinking they're a little bigger than an elk. Holy cow, this sucker's huge. You can't even
Can't even move his head.
It's about as much as we can
do. Look at that.
So we got some work cut out for us, but great trophy.
Yeah.
Deborah, congratulations. That is awesome. But,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
appreciate them inviting me up here for this. It was just
Yeah.
a great time. So now obviously
Sometimes those spontaneous things are the best.
It is. Yep, it is. And now we've got some spontaneous work that's going to take the rest of the day, I'm sure. But this was awesome.
These episodes can't be done without your help. You know the drill. Please make some comments, like, and subscribe, and I'll keep working on more videos.